Hi, everyone. I'm Eileen Francisco, and I'm back with another podcast with a guest I'm super excited to interview, Caitlin Smith. But before I introduce my new friend, I want to give a shout out to friends of all of us runners. Victor Ballesteros, his wife Jenna, their dog Lucy, and their company, Victory Sport Design. They've got a Kickstarter going on right now for an amazing travel adventure backpack, not just for us runners, but for fast packers and gear junkies. Their Kickstarter is for the Grizzly, a hyper-organized backpack unique in the market. This thing has a bazillion pockets and windows to keep your stuff within reach. For example, my team borrowed the prototype for crewing at Western States, and the top plastic window was where we kept the avocado knife, cash, and Tylenol. When we opened it up, the shelving units kept the aid station bags visible and ready to go. No sifting, no searching. So there's only a few days left in their Kickstarter. Please search for the words Grizzly or Victory Sport Design and watch the super cool video. By supporting this Kickstarter, you not only get great products, but you'll forever make friends with two of the best people on the planet. And speaking about best people on the planet, I'm incredibly honored to be here with Caitlin Smith. If you Google her, you're going to find a ton of fun stuff, such as a video on National Geographic, interviews with I Run Far, and ultrarunner podcast. And if you check out her website, you'll find that she's an artist, a doula, a Pilates instructor, and a running coach. But the reason I'm here is because Caitlin, in addition to being an incredible ultra runner, is also an activist. After she competes in the 50K World Championships, she's headed to Greece to help with the Syrian refugee crisis. As a quick reminder to listeners, Beyond Ultras is my way of spotlighting ultra runners doing good. These athletes not only create impressive ultra sign-up results, but my hope is that these quick 10 to 15 minute conversations about their non-running activities could potentially spark change within you. Caitlin, if you can't tell, I'm feeling super excited and giddy just for being here. You're a wonderful artist, a Pilates instructor, a doula, and a coach. This takes a lot of entrepreneurial gumption. Have you always had this trait?
I don't know. I guess I've always just been who I am, and I guess maybe that it's something that I was born with. But I think I've been inspired by my parents, who also have multi-talents, and siblings that have multi-talents, and I guess I have a lot of interests too. So it's a way of delving into my different interests.
For my own personal curiosity, I want to talk about work-life balance. I mean, because like we said earlier, you're doing a lot of things. You're an artist, you're a doula, you're a Pilates instructor, you're a coach, you're training. Oh my God, like my head's spinning. So, I mean, is this a struggle for you? Or, I mean, is it just as simple as scheduling everything? Like, how are you managing?
Yeah, I mean, I think I have weeks that are more manageable than others. I think I have moments where I'm like, why don't I just have a simpler life and one focus or a couple focuses versus, a handful. But I mean, I do feel like it's just maybe it's just like my running. The variety just really is good for me, and I enjoy it, and it makes me, I feel like, a better person and more able to do. So I look at it this way. With Pilates, it can help influence how I interact with people with the doula work, or the doula work might influence how I see, a new mom in a Pilates class. So I feel like they all kind of interact in this way too. Yeah.
Awesome. So just to help set the stage, how did you first get into running?
So I actually had a 6th grade track coach that was convinced I was a runner. And at the time I was dancing. And so I didn't think I was a runner. And I literally made it one lap around the track. And I thought, no, that's it. That's all I can do. And he kept telling me, no, you are a distance runner. I can tell. I was not really convinced until maybe my senior year in high school, when I decided to just run to a friend's house on a whim. And I think it was like 12 miles, and at the time that was crazy, and I did it and I made it, and I was like, this is pretty cool. And I think through college it was just my stress release. It was my way of dealing with, classes and homework and all that fun stuff that kind of got a little bit more burdensome when you get to college. And it wasn't really until 2009, though, that I realized that I actually had some talent at it and some ability. So yeah, it's kind of always been there as an outlet, but it wasn't until more recently that I got more competitive with it.
So I'm really curious, what did you study in college?
I studied justice and social change as an undergrad, and I did a lot of prison work back in Michigan. So working with adolescents all the way up into adults in different facilities around Michigan, and I did a lot of art workshops with the prisoners.
Okay, that's super interesting. I never would have guessed that. Thanks for sharing that. So you mentioned 2009, and I know that was your breakout year. You were winning all your races, as you're still winning your races, if not winning them, placing in the top 3. And then, bam, it was no longer a short race. You actually won North Face 50 mile. I basically almost fell back in my seat when I saw that. I was just like, where did this woman come from? That was amazing. And that seems to be your MO. You generally do shorter stuff, and then once in a while, a big race comes up. So can you kind of share how you go about picking your races?
Yeah, I mean, I guess in 2009, I basically jumped into everything. I feel like I did a race like every few weekends, not necessarily a big race, but a lot of racing in 2009. And then I got pretty hurt, actually, at the beginning of 2010. And I think that was kind of a little bit of a wake-up call to kind of readjust a little bit. And now I kind of pick races based on interest and just kind of where I feel like my training is going. I mean, the 50K distance is definitely my favorite. I really, really do like the 50K distance. So I do tend to pick those races more frequently.
I know you just said 50Ks are your favorite, but I also know that Magdalena Boulay is your coach. And, as everybody knows, she won Western States last year. So has that ever come up? Have you guys ever talked about a 100-miler?
I think there was some interest there. And then this year, actually, I attempted to do the 50-mile distance again, and it had been since 2012. So it's been a while since I had done the 50-mile distance. And I actually ended up pulling out of both 50-mile races with some issues. And so I think I'm a little hesitant about jumping into a 100-miler yet. But, there might, maybe in a couple years I'll change my mind. But I think for right now, I'm pretty content with sticking to the shorter stuff. But you never know, sometimes my mind changes.
Totally agree. Yeah, you've got to do what's best for yourself. And 100 miles is a freaking long way. So, I mean, just the fact that you go in for the win. Yeah, 50 mile is an incredibly long distance. So I totally get that. Okay, let's move on to what's happening very soon. Can you give us a little picture of the 50K World Championships?
Yeah, the World Championship is in Doha. They say Qatar there. We say Qatar here. So I think you can kind of interchange them, is my understanding. You can use either. So it's in the Persian Gulf. The hardest thing about the race is it's warm. So it will be 80 degrees at night and humid, which is always a trick for me because growing up in northern Michigan, I am not used to heat. But I've been doing just some training to get used to it, and I feel well prepared. I did this race last year, so I definitely know how to prepare for it this year. It's now going to be 22.5K loops because they're doing construction. Last year it was 10 5K loops. So I think I will have to get used to the repetition a little bit, but I've been doing that in practice and in workouts and such too. I feel ready to represent our country. I know we have a really, really strong team. So who knows? Maybe a win's there, maybe a top 10 finishes there again, but I'm just gonna go and race my best.
I'm definitely going to be watching this. And this is happening when? December?
This year it's actually November 11th. So it's actually about a month earlier than it was last year. And you can watch it online. It starts there at 6 p.m., which is, I believe, 6 a.m. here. So you have to get up pretty early to watch it on Friday morning, but you can.
Okay, here we are, moving beyond ultras. A mutual friend of ours introduced me to you because she said that you have an upcoming trip to Greece. Can you tell us a little bit about that and the genesis of that?
Yeah, so when I went to Doha last year, I just went to Doha and I came straight back. And I decided if I'm going to do this race again this year, I want to do something more while I'm over there. And it's been on my mind a lot, just with everything that's been going on with the refugee crisis in general. And as a doula and as somebody that has knowledge about breastfeeding and different things that some of these women really are desperately in need of, I decided I want to go to Greece and I want to offer my support as best I can. I found an organization called Nurture Project International, and that's the organization that I'm going to volunteer with. And I really don't know what to expect, but I just hope to provide at least a smile to these women that are going through tremendous change.
And how long is this project going to be?
I'm actually just going there for about a week, so I'm not going to be there for a very extended period of time, but if I have a good experience, I hope to go back or hope to at least, put out more knowledge to people about what's going on there and hopefully help fundraise for this organization.
Exactly. I would be more than willing to help you out with that. What's the name of the organization again?
The organization is called Nurture Project International, and their main thing is to get mothers to breastfeed their children. And in a crisis situation, it's kind of one of the most important things because sometimes there's not sanitary conditions, and survival of these babies also means that moms use their best resource to provide for them.
Thank you so much. I think we did it, Caitlin. It feels so quick. I almost feel like I'm leaving questions on the table, but you guys, that's the limit of the podcast. Sorry, I'm going to have to interview Caitlin one more time. When are you coming back?
I return on November 20th, so maybe I'll have a lot more to share once I return.
Thank you so much, Caitlin. Really appreciate this.
اليوم راني معاك غدوة تاني متمني يكتب المكتوب ونكون حداك يا قلبي شوف هواك وين رماني فوق بحر صافي بمواج وداني معاه تبع رياح الحب وعندك حطني ودعني وصاني وقلي حبيبك ما تنساه زينة ما درتي فينا أنا وقلبي حوسنا عليك ما لقينا يا زينة ما درتي فينا أنا وقلبي حوسنا عليك ما لقينا قالوا لي خرجتي في الظلام وعليا سولتي في غياب القمر بعيونك ضويتي قالوا لي عليك نجمة يا نجمة ما بنتي وين كنتي هذا شحال قولي لي علاش هربتي قالوا لي خرجتي في الظلام وعليا سولتي في غياب القمر بعيونك ضويتي قالوا لي عليك نجمة يا نجمة ما بنتي وين كنتي هذا شحال قولي لي علاش هربتي سينا ما درتي فينا أنا وقلبي حوسنا عليك ما لقينا يا زينة ما درتي فينا أنا وقلبي حوسنا عليك ما لقينا حلف ما نزيد نسال علي هجرني والعين اللي بكات وحالة سامحني علاش يا قلبي هواك غدرني راني مجروح شكون اللي داويني يا رياح ودين غامي اسمعهم الحبيب حوالي يا زينة فهمي المعاني آمين راح وكل مولاه العالي زينة